Hello, welcome to this Healthy Life podcast. My name is Erika Schlick from The Trail to Health, and I'm so excited to be launching my podcast finally. This has been a project years in the making, and I finally feel ready to put it out in the world. And the podcast is going to be covering a lot of topics. I'm going to be covering health issues that I've experienced on my own health journey that began many years ago, and also talking to other leading experts in various other conditions that are mostly invisible and you may not know so much about. So it's going to serve as a platform to educate, share stories, and talk to leading industry experts on all these different conditions and hopefully help you on your own health journey. Just a little bit about myself. I'm a nationally recognized cookbook author as well as an IIN certified health coach. My blog is called The Trail to Health, and it's been a journey for me to either track my recovery from multiple conditions, including Lyme disease, Hashimoto's, celiac disease, and a few other autoimmune issues, and also has evolved into a food blog where I share different recipes that have helped me on my healing journey and health tips as well. So I'm going to be sharing today a little bit about my own health story, just as an introduction, since this is my very first episode, and kind of share a little bit about myself, what journey I've been on, what conditions I'm healing from, and I hope that you can learn a little bit from myself, and also please reach out with any questions you have on anything that I'm going to share about today. So I'm going to start by sharing when my health journey began. So in 2012, I went on my third camping trip of my entire life. I was never a camper, and I got a mysterious bug bite, but I used to get bitten by bugs all the time, so I didn't really think anything of it. After that trip, I had kind of a weird rash on my hand, and I was like, oh, it's just a bug bite, nothing to be afraid of. And about a week later, I started experiencing flu-like symptoms. At the time, I used to get sick quite a bit, so again, I also just brushed it off as like, oh, I just got another cold, no big deal, I'll get over it. But this flu was different. This flu would come and go in waves. The fatigue from it was very different from anything I had ever experienced. And for about 2 months, I had this ongoing wave of fatigue, symptoms that would come and go. And to be honest, it never really went away. And what really started my health journey into knowing that something was really wrong with me is about 2 months after that flu started, I was blow drying my hair and I noticed a bald spot that was about this big on the very top of my head, about the size of a quarter, and it just appeared overnight. And of course I panicked because why would I have a bald spot that just appeared overnight? This is very strange. And I had been given contact information for an integrative doctor that would help with certain autoimmune conditions, kind of low immunity, some things that I had been dealing with prior to this ongoing flu. And I decided it was time to make an appointment with him and see what this was all about. And about a month later, I finally saw him. And in our appointment, he told me that he was willing to bet that I was severely sensitive to gluten or celiac, and that was what was causing my hair loss that appeared overnight. I was also diagnosed with alopecia, which was the cause of the overnight hair loss. And soon after that, thanks to the help of this doctor, I had a second diagnosis of celiac disease. So I thought, okay, I just need to go gluten-free and everything's gonna be okay. I'm gonna feel normal again. I'm not gonna feel tired anymore. This flu-like feeling that I've been dealing with is gonna go away. My hair will grow back. Everything will be good. I just need to cut out pasta and bread. Boy, was I wrong. So that was just the beginning of my health journey. And what happened after that is I went gluten-free. And I started on a standard American gluten-free diet. I had already been eating more or less a standard American diet prior to that. And honestly, I went gluten-free and I didn't feel better. I felt tired, spacey, groggy. My joints were aching. Nothing really changed for me. So I said, okay, I thought I was supposed to feel better. It's been a month. Why am I not feeling better? And went back to my doctor, and he explained to me that I most likely had to go onto an anti-inflammatory diet. So my next stop was to be really radical, and I ended up going on an autoimmune paleo diet, which cuts out all inflammatory foods. And you do this for at least 30 days, and then you slowly add foods back in one at a time to see what really is affecting your health. This really changed my life, and I felt a lot better going on this anti-inflammatory diet and really kind of cleaning up my lifestyle, diet, cutting out all this inflammation. And I really got to learn what foods worked for my body and what didn't. But the symptoms kept coming on. I still had joint pain. The brain fog was getting worse. I didn't feel good. So I went down a slew of 2 years of different diagnoses, including SIBO and Candida and all these different diagnoses with my gut. I worked on a lot of gut healing. Again, the symptoms just kept piling on. I got to a point about 2 years later, I was back in this doctor's office and I was crying because I was like, I can't drive anymore. I feel so tired. I haven't been able to work. I can't work out. What is wrong with me? And he said the only thing we hadn't explored or tested me for was chronic fatigue viruses, so like Epstein-Barr, things like that, or Lyme disease. And I told him, I doubt it's Lyme disease because I'm the least outdoorsy person in the world. But at this point, test me for everything because I'm so miserable. I don't know what's wrong with me. I want to know. And 3 weeks later, I was positive on IGeneX, which is one of the most reliable tests that you can use for Lyme disease that's available right now. And I was fully positive, even CDC positive, which is a hard titer to make. And so I was relieved in a way. I was obviously sad because, again, it was another diagnosis after this 2-year journey. Things had just been piling on. I wasn't sure what was going on, but also relieved to finally have an answer that I wasn't crazy, that I was having all these symptoms due to something that was real. That just began phase 2, the whole second leg of my journey. And for about 3 years, I treated Lyme disease and I tried everything under the sun. I did not do antibiotics because I had already done so much work on healing my gut that I really didn't want to go back and do damage to my gut. And there was a lot of stories of people that would feel better on antibiotics temporarily, and then when they came off of them, the Lyme would come back with full force. And so it just didn't feel like something that resonated with me. Integrative medicine had started to be really helpful. The diet changes had helped me, and doing all the gut health had helped me a little bit. So I wanted to go more that route. And so I did a series of IVs 2 to 3 times a week for about 2.5 years. It helped me a lot. I got to about 60% better, I would say, 60-70% better just doing those treatments. I wasn't back to full picture of health yet, but definitely better. And after doing about 2 to 3 years of that treatment, I decided to do stem cell therapy with a clinic called Infusio, which is no longer in existence, but it was helping a lot of people with Lyme disease. And I got stem cells using my own stem cells from my adipose tissue. The stem cells saved my life. I don't think that I would be here today. I definitely wouldn't be here in this capacity. I wouldn't probably be doing this podcast if I still had Lyme disease. I was so sick. I was so brain dead, if you will. I just couldn't even think. Everything felt like mud in my brain. So they definitely saved my life and pretty much cleared all my Lyme symptoms. I got my stem cells in 2016. And it took about 8 to 10 months to fully feel like I came back to life. But they definitely are what saved me. But they just, of course, when you are on a health journey, you fix one thing, you're like a Rubik's Cube, and you break something else. So the stem cells saved my life, but they triggered on something that was causing severe weight gain. And I gained about 50 pounds very quickly, no matter what I was doing. And at this point, my joints were feeling better. I was working out again. I still had my clean, healthy diet that I was already used to eating since 2012. And so, this was really hard for me because I'm doing everything right. I'm working out again. Why am I gaining this weight? And it definitely felt like there was a lymphatic component and a hormonal component. It would come on really strong during my cycle. I would gain 5 pounds. Instead of losing those 5 pounds of water retention, it felt like 3 or 4 pounds would stay on. And it was really a tormental cycle. Nobody could figure out what was wrong with me. And I actually ended up doing a pretty extreme diet called HCG. You use HCG injections and you eat 500 calories a day, and you do it for about 21 to 30 days. And I did 4 or 5 rounds of that to initially lose the weight. And I was finally, I don't know what happened, but I fixed my body. Hopefully this is okay. And I wasn't fixed. Really, the HCG was just a Band-Aid. And so for the past few years, I've basically done an annual round of HCG to keep the weight gain at bay because no one has been able to figure out what is wrong with me. So this is, again, after my 5-year journey with Lyme, this has been now a 7-year journey trying to figure out what was wrong with my weight gain. And this year, I was finally diagnosed with lipedema, which was the cause of this ongoing weight gain. And so, again, it's kind of depressing to have a new diagnosis, but also a relief because this has been such a tormental journey for me. I finally got over Lyme disease, and then I was dealing with this, and this was super stressful, especially with my image, my body image, frustrating because you're doing everything right, and you can just tell something is not right with your body. So hopefully this is my last diagnosis for a while, I'm hoping. Hopefully this is the last piece of it. The symptoms of this condition do kind of encompass everything that I have left that I feel like I'm dealing with post-Lyme. So I'm hoping that, I'm going to be good from here, but you never know with our health journeys. So that's a little bit of my backstory. Some other conditions that I deal with, like I mentioned, celiac disease, alopecia. I also have Hashimoto's, Lyme. I also deal with mold. So mold has been an interesting part of my journey. I say my journey started in 2012, but I actually feel like my journey started long before that. When I was in grad school, I lived in an apartment that had a flood, and I was a broke grad school student, and they literally came in, picked up my carpet, dried it with fans, and put it back down. And I started developing a lot of weird allergies there. I was getting sick every 6 weeks. I was taking a lot of antibiotics because I just needed to plow through and get through grad school. And so I think that really started to do a big disservice to my immune system. So then when I got Lyme, I really tanked. And now that I've kind of come full circle with my journey, you know, I know about conditions like SIRS. I know about genetic components that can be ailing this as well. So what I'm trying to say is if you have mystery illnesses and you don't think that they're related, most likely they probably are. And you just need to kind of dig deep and find what is going on with you and what those root causes are. So on this blog now, I'm hoping that I can share by sharing my own story and interviewing experts along the way that maybe some of these pieces will resonate with you. They'll help you find someone that can help you on your own journey, or just having the community to reach out to and share your story and learn from my story and my experiences. I'm an open book when it comes to my health. I share pretty much everything I've tried. If it worked for me, if it didn't work, I'm happy to answer any questions, and very excited to be sharing my journey with some of the health professionals that helped me get better, other members of the community that I've connected with that are on their journey as well, that have been an integral part of my healing, and here to share a wealth of knowledge that I hope you can learn from and help you on your own healing journey. So I welcome you to this Healthy Life podcast. I have a very exciting first season for you. We're going to be interviewing lots of different guests covering different topics, from conditions that I've had on my own, health experts that have helped me, also conditions that I don't have, but I think need to have an equal voice and, share some information on. So welcome any feedback, anyone that you want to see on the podcast, please let me know. I'd love to interview you if you would like to be a guest as well. So please reach out and fill out any information. I'm going to share that in my show notes, and I hope you enjoy the journey and come along with me for a long time.